ladies and gentlemen, this is Sniper signing in to Command & Conquer Red Alert 3 on the map Battlebase Beta for Semifinal A of For the Win number 42, spawning on the top side as the yellow Soviet player. This is Dimon. Quite the regular to the tournament scene and a bit of a new face as well, at least in recent tournaments, spawning his opponent as the purple Empire player. This is Tengu. Dimon, a veteran of the tournament scene, so we'll have to see how Tengu can square off against him, opening up with those 4 dojos, going to try and wrestle Dimon for control of the center. 4 dojos to 1 barracks. That's going to be an interesting little matchup indeed. And one little side note before we get going, that was a flash for Magmine too. That's why the dojo core just lost all of its health basically instantly. But one side note is I'm a little bit under the weather right now. I kind of spent some time outside in the cold when I should not have. So I got somewhat sick. I hope that's not too noticeable. I really hope it isn't. But I'll be doing everything I can to get better soon. But we have games to cast, and there are... Actually, I have a number of games to cast. So I'll be doing a lot of casting today, that's for sure. Gonna go straight for that T2, so completely skipping this the War Factory. I've seen some Soviet players do this a lot more, or at least more frequently, and as of late. Not even bothering with the War Factory, gonna go straight for the super reactor, and then that's it. Going for the airfield. Dimon going for the airfield, saying, nah, I don't need a War Factory, just gonna go straight on for that airfield. But is Tengu rather gonna see this coming? Mecha Bay's already out. Tengu production has started. I'm gonna flub that up somewhere in this video. I'll bet you anything. Tengu is building Tengus. That'll be interesting. But how will he square? Will he see it? Oh, he sees it now. The burst drone gets the full scout off. All of the information is going to be had. And so this airfield, it's seen a mile away. Or really, it's seen just as it's finished. So what's gonna happen? In Tengu's position, he can do really one of 2 things. He can go for a T2 switch up, which I think that's exactly what he's doing based on how slowly that's going. And the T2 switch up is likely the better option, simply because your alternative is just mass Tengu spam. And the problem with that is Tengus are significantly worse than MiGs. They're not, they're not like terribly worse. It's not as bad of a disadvantage as it is with, say, an Apollo fighter. But the MiGs, one thing you have to watch out for is if you have Tengus that stack up, which Red Alert 3 units, or the Tengus in particular, they are notorious for stacking up. If they stack up, the MiGs, they fire flak rounds as their primary attack. And the flak does AoE damage. So if any Tengus are stacking up, then suddenly, 2, 3, 4, 5 more Tengus die than what was actually being targeted by the MiGs. But all 4 MiGs have been constructed, going to be getting a sizable escort to the Twin Blades that are now going to be starting. And Dimon also going to be going out onto the water, getting that 3rd expansion online. And it looks like Tengu, I almost did it there, I almost called him Tengu. Tengu is likely going to be planning on the same thing, trying to get his 3rd naval, his 3rd ref out here on the water. But with this kind of air pressure coming in, though, I'm not entirely sure that can actually happen. Oh, is he going to lose his oil derrick? He lost his oil derrick. Dimon getting a little cheeky with that twin blade engineer. Just going to come on in and just take that derrick right from under him. But now, the T2 switch up, on this map in particular, this is the vulnerability with going for a T2 switch up instead of just mass Tengus. Because now, this striker, if you go out here, if you go to the naval refinery, then the striker, you lose the advantage that you went for, trying to get the T2 so you can get the ground-based anti-air. So now this MCV is actually going to be forced into packing up. I think he was trying to lure with those MiGs back to the striker's anti-aircraft zone or the firing range of the striker with those Tengus just for a minute. But just ultimately decides to try and pack up his MCV, see if his attacker will leave. And if he does, Dimon winds up just pulling back into the center. Which Dimon never was able to get full control over the center, which at this point, I don't think that really matters. Twin Blades are out in the skies, and that gives him more map control than what these 2 buildings are going to be giving Tengu here. That and these conscripts may very well be enough to drive him out. Twin Blade, or not Twin Blade, Tengus plus Chopper VX going to be coming on out. Will they be enough? Are they going to be enough to take on all the Air Force from the Soviet Union? We'll have to find out. 1 MiG goes down, 2 Tengus go down as a trade. Striker, anti-aircraft fire. Another MiG goes down. Another twin blade goes down. Oh, is that going to be everything? That's all but one MiG go down. And that one MiG does not have very much health left to work on. That's a second airfield. Oh, Dimon, he's going to double down. Just lost all of his stuff. And what does he do? He doubles down. Loses basically all of his aircraft and then doubles down on the aircraft production. Says, you know what? No, this is going to happen. And oh my word, Dimon, 4th ref. Buddy. Dude, buddy. I think he likes his money. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Dimon likes his money. Already up to 4 refineries. Only just now getting to 3 for Tengu. That is going to be a very large disparity for his eco. And oh my goodness, he doesn't kill the Derrick. He doesn't kill the Derrick. I mean, the Derrick being that close, or being that close to your base, it's really, I mean, you might as well just go ahead and recap it. I mean, since it's right there on your front door, you might as well. But the worst thing you can do is, if you're going to kill it, commit to killing it. Don't just leave it here and let it do its own thing for that long. And Dimon, this is one thing to take note of. Dimon does a fantastic job of positioning units just randomly across the map. Conscript. You know, the refiner. He has map vision everywhere. Right? He has map vision everywhere. And oh my sweet mother of MiGs. That's a lot of MiGs. That's a lot of MiGs. I think that's what? Yeah, that's about 8 reasons why the Tengus are never going to win in the air game. I don't think the Tengus are going to win the air game. They're going to have to rely on these strikers. Will they get a twin blade? No, they won't. Just barely slips away. Is there any kind of repair capabilities? No. But there are a number of flag troopers, so we could see some twin flag drops. If these twin blades come back to base, we could very well see some twin flag drops. As a matter of fact, I think that's exactly what Dimon's planning on, is going for some twin flag drops. Gonna see what kind of damage he can get done over there. And now, Mechas and Strikers actually gonna be enough to take down this refinery, I think. I'm not, now since it's all over land, I don't think Dimon's willing to commit his entire air force to trying to deal with this little incursion, simply because all the Tengus could go into jet mode, all the choppers could go into striker mode, and then suddenly that's a lot of units that shoot up, or that shoot at his aircraft, and that would be very, very much not in Dimon's favor, I don't think. We're gonna see the twin flag drops are gonna be coming in here. Is the Tengu gonna transform? No, it isn't. It's just gonna get deleted off the map thanks to all those rockets. And there it is. Twin flags, mag mines. That is gonna be one dead Mecha Bay. Forces the sell-off. Is there gonna be any kind of retaliation from the Air Force? Strikers on the ground, MiGs in the sky, but this is where the T2 comes in handy. All the MiGs wind up going down, but is it enough? It's not enough. The damage has been dealt. I think the damage has been done. At this point, I think the damage has been done. The MiGs are too strong. The MiGs are just too strong. There's no anti-aircraft left. There is one AA turret, and the Dox isn't T2, so he can't get C-Wings. Oh, that's gonna be it. There's no more anti-air. Only one ref was mining, and that is it. Tengu taps out, has been defeated. GG, well played, and Dimon making that T2 switch up work. The fast tech to T2, he was making the dream work right there. But that T2 early switch for Tengu, he only got the fight that he was looking for at the end of the game. Right? At the end of the game, he was looking for the fight where all of the MiGs committed against the Tengus, and then they were also going to be the Striker VXs on the ground giving anti-aircraft support, and that really just tipped the balance, tipped the balance of the fight in the Empire's favor. But of course, that wasn't until the end of the game, and his Mecha Bay had already died to the twin flak drops. That was not a good situation for Tengu to be in, and oh my word, nearly a 20,000 eco lead in favor of Dimon. Nearly a full 20,000. Dimon just, pretty sure he got up to the full 5 refs by the end of that game. I don't know. It may have just been 4 the whole game. So his 5th ref may have been going up by the time his 4th ref died to the Chopper Mecha Tengu combo over on the top side of the map. So Dimon just absolutely running away with the eco that game. But still very well played. That was a nice switch up. It's nice to see the Soviets, or one Soviet player deviating from what has kind of become the standard Terror Drone, Electro Claw, Hammer Tank, Early Harass, things like that. It's always nice to see some mix-ups here and there. GG, well played. And without any further ado, let's jump into game number 2. Which brings us to the map, Temple Prime. Spawning on the left side is the yellow Soviets player. Currently up 1-0, this is Dimon. And his opponent, rocking up as the green Empire player, this is Tengu. Gonna be opening up with at least 3 racks. Will it be a 4th racks? I'm gonna guess and say it's gonna be a 4th racks. Yes, indeed it is. Typically on a map like this, if you have multiple oil derricks that are equally contestable by each player, then for the Empire, typically you build a total of 4 racks. You build 1 to try just to go ahead and deploy, get your infantry out, and start streaming the infantry towards one direction. The other doing just this, trying to be a crush core. Not going to catch that warbear. I don't think. Dimon's micro is a little too good for that. Trying to catch a crush core, trying to use that as a crush core. And the other two, the tactics pretty much the same on both sides. You deploy 1 a little further back, and you use the second core as a crush core. You stream infantry up, and then you use that to try and wrestle control away from the other player. And Dimon just going in with the 2 racks, going to be streaming his infantry on through, and that's a lot of yellow. Engineer already on the way, actually. Warbears actually giving a lot of contesting going on down here. And actually, that derrick is going to go fully in favor of Dimon, no questions asked. That was that warbear derped out there just a little bit. Talk about a derpy little warbear. Dojo not able to get the crush core, or not able to get the crush off on that combat engineer. Gonna go in for the crush on that core, I think, and it does wind up killing the fighter, but hands that conscript a field promotion down to heroic status. Gonna be trying to kick out. Oh, that's the engineer. Oh no, he's trying to sprint away. Run, engineer, run. Oh, this is not good for that engineer. That engineer is trying to micro it, but it did not quite work out as much as Tengu, I think, would have liked. Still no Mecha Bay. No Mecha Bay at all. War Factory, T2 Super Reactor. That was another dojo. What are you building? If this isn't a Mecha Bay, you're in trouble. That's a refinery. That's not supposed to be a refinery. You need a Mecha Bay. That's not supposed to be a okay. Well, this is an interesting little spot that Tengu now finds himself in. He finds him in the spot of he's not going to have diddly squat to stop this. He can't stop it. The core he sent down there died. His other dojo is, for all intents and purposes, being camped. Sure, he's got a 3rd ref, but he doesn't have anything to defend himself. I think this is the point where he just kind of dies. I think that Tengu is just kind of gonna die outright right here. I do not think he can hold this at all. I mean, maybe if we had some sort of, well, no, if the MCV packs up, all the Terror Drone has to do is just infect the thing. If it infects the MCV, then boom, that's it. Or maybe have it Electro Claw the MCV. Or I don't know, something. Tengu's in a no-win situation right here. Absolutely not as a winnable situation. I do not think these conscripts are going to be enough actually to take down the collector. That's his last form of self-defense, and the hammer tank's here. Oh, yep, hammer tank's here. That's going to be that. Hammer tank's just going to put too much pressure on this base. Tengu is, he has absolutely nothing to kill this, and he realizes it now. Taps out. GG. Well played. Dimon exploiting the situation exactly as he should have, recognizing the fact his opponent had literally 0 units behind his early game infantry push. That is a shining example of why you need to build a Mecha Bay as Empire, because if you don't, that happens. You just kind of lose. Or no, that's why after you go for some sort of like early push, you don't go for a ref right after it, because you will be defenseless. And your opponent will probably have some units built up that they use to defend or counteract your early push. And then, you know, if your opponent realizes that you don't have any units, then they just kind of come over and destroy all your stuff. Which is exactly what just happened there. Dimon, great read of the situation. Good job on his part. Tengu, I can't agree with his decision making. Who knows? Maybe he'll start turning things around in the games to come. So with that said, let's jump to game number 3, which brings us to the map Cabana Republic, spawning on the right side as the red Soviet player. This is Dimon. And it looks like his opponent taking his yellow color as the Empire player. This is Tengu. Dimon is typically a textbook yellow Soviet player. I think yellow has just kind of always been his color. Not very often do you see somebody taking his color away from him. I don't know, maybe Tengu's just trying to poke a little fun at Dimon and say, haha, I have your color now. Forcing Dimon to take on that typical red Soviet color. Opening up with just 1 Rex, and Engineer's already on the way. Okay, Engineer gonna be on the way, gonna probably just run on up here, grab this Derek. We're using the Warbears as cover, and that's a Flak Trooper. Dimon's taken a habit to building 1 Flak Trooper first, particularly against Empire players, I think, because just of how often they use their dojo cores just as like face-checking scouts. Like they use the crush cores as a form of scouting, as well as, you know, a form of possible early harass or scout denial. So having the Flak Trooper out on the map, that can become quite handy indeed, except it's going up here now. I'm not entirely sure why it's going up there. A Flak Trooper can't swim, and if there was an Imperial Warrior up here, then it's not like a Flak Trooper could stop it. Maybe it's just up there trying to stop the burst drone, if a burst drone did decide to come down that way. Capping the Derek, both sides, gonna get their 15 cred every 2 seconds, online, safe, and easy. Fast T2. Fast T2's coming out again. And we got yep, and there's the airfield. Dimon's digging this strat, I think. He's liking the fast airfield. Fast T2 going straight for the airfield. Dimon, I think, is rather enjoying it. But has it been seen? Oh, yeah, I think it's been seen. Burst drone, still sitting on the collector of Dimon. I think Tengu, he sees everything he's going to need to see on this matter. Warbear, just Warbears everywhere on Tengu's side of the map. Dimon's got some really good map view. Very good map control, I guess, in terms of intelligence. Very, very good indeed. And that dojo core just kind of came out of the blue. He's going to be deploying, trying to capture away Dimon's oil derrick. He's not going to be very happy about that. Are there going to be any twin blades coming out? It looks like, yeah, I think he's already anticipating that derrick being captured, I believe. So that's why he built the 2 engineers. He's going to load them both onto this twin blade and then see about recapping both this derrick and this derrick, assuming this derrick gets actually captured, which I'm not entirely, is it going to be captured? I'm not entirely sure. No, oh, there's the engineer. Now it's being built, but the problem is now the twin blade's already out here on the map. So that engineer, there's a chance that engineer could get sniped very quickly. You don't want that to happen. Do not want that to happen at all. Not very many Tengus out. Looks like a total of around 5. A total of about 5 Tengus versus, what, the 3 MiGs? And there's the oil derrick capture. But that other engineer, I believe, is still inside of this twin blade. Or is it the other, or is there another twin blade? No, I think it's just that twin blade. All 4 MiGs are out. Air battle going to be ensuing. Tengu's gonna be, I think, oh, could the Tengus pull it? They're actually getting the better end of this engagement. All the MiGs are gonna go down. All the MiGs go down to non-point defense droned Tengus, and the other engineer, oh, he goes flying out of the side of that twin blade and lands with a thud on top of the ridge. That is no good. That is no bueno indeed. Absolutely no bueno. Gonna be clearing out the last little bit of Dimon's vision in that area. Some counter harass. I think Dimon's wide open to some counter harass right now. He don't have diddly squat. He has no units. Aside from the 3 conscripts he's got here in the center, he has no units. Tengu's free to do whatever he wants right now. Dimon has literally 0 units. This is shocking. This is very much not typical Dimon that we see here. The Stingray is coming out though. The Stingrays are very much more powerful than the Tengus are. The Hero Stingray, I think, is gonna be what keeps Dimon alive for the time being. Gonna be transforming down on top of this ore collector. Gonna see if he can force this off the line too. Force only on 1 ref right now. For all intents and purposes, mining off of 1 ref. That is not something that you want to see happening at all if you're a Soviet player. 3 shots from the Stingray is all it takes to take down a Mecha Tengu. And the Tengus, they take a lot longer to kill a Stingray. Much, much longer to kill a Stingray. The Imperial Warrior is going to be wanting to bonsai this building because that conscript, as low as his DPS may be, will inevitably win that fight. And yes, there they are. Winds up trading in there and taking out that conscript. Stingray coming on land. The problem with a Stingray coming on land is that it can be overwhelmed. If there are too many Stingray, or if there's too many Tengus that are up in the sky, they just kind of up and decide to mass F move, transform on top of the Stingray that's on the land. Suddenly it can be overwhelmed quite easily. And I think that the Stingray might get an attack speed debuff. When it might be slowed when it's out, when it's on the land. I'm not 100% sure. I thought I had noticed that over my years of playing Red Alert 3. But very smart from Dimon, throwing the cash bounty down on the Imperial units as well as his own collector, recognizing that collector was more than likely going to go down, given that all of the damage it had already sustained, and so getting that extra 350 back in the form of cash. Bullfrog's gonna be helping to secure the skies at least a little bit from all of these Tengus that are now out here on the map. A decent number of them, 7 Tengus total. 7 Tengus, but it doesn't look like any aircraft. No aircraft are coming back out for Dimon. I can't say how I feel about this. No aircraft coming back out. If you make a fast T2 like that, if you make a fast tech switch, you have to make sure that it goes somewhere. And if you build the structure, build a few units, and the units die, and you just don't build anything else, that could become quite problematic. Taking some bullfrog fire there. So one Tengu is going to be in that low health margin. But this is what I was talking about, though. The Stingray on land does not have the DPS to take down all of these Tengus. It absolutely does not. It doesn't have the versatility either. It being slower than it would normally be out there in the water. With the Stingray on land, the Tengus could just transform on top of it, surround it, and that's it. That is the end of the Stingray through and through right there. Another Stingray or two, just one Stingray gonna be coming on over, seeing if he can chase off some of these Tengus, but sending in your units piecemeal like this, I can't necessarily agree, and I think I'm frame rating a little hard right now. That's very strange. That wasn't happening before. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. But Stingray is going to be going on down. It does survive for the time being. That Tesla surge forcing the Tengus out of the water. And that was good micro on the side of Tengu, paying attention to when his units would have inevitably died. And another refinery, 4th ref going down, but it's getting infected by a Terror Drone. Oh, that's not good. Terror Drone infect coming down. That's going to hamper that refinery's money-making capabilities. More Tengu harass. When in doubt, harass it out. When in doubt, harass it out. And that's a that's the MCV cell. Oh, if you ever see an MCV cell, I think things are getting dicey. And the Yari mini-subs is cleaning house. 2 bullfrogs and a Stingray going down to that Yari mini-sub, handing off an elite level of veterancy to it. Refinery core taking a little bit of fire. Oh, that's risky, having your refinery core out in the open like that. That is so risky. As an Empire player, that's 2,500 investment just running around, or just driving around, which almost got caught by a Terror Drone too. Had it been just a little bit further behind, it would have been caught by that Terror Drone. That would have been 2,500 basically wasted. That is never something you want to see happen at all. But now Dimon, his MCV was sold off. The Naval Yard and the Naval Ref were destroyed. So now he's down to 2 refs, 2 mining refs, now about to be 1 mining ref, given with this new harassment. Yes, hammer tanks are coming out, so that will serve as a suitable deterrent to some of these Tengus. He's got to make sure, though, that when these Tengus go down with their honorable discharge, if he wants to keep these hammer tanks alive, the honorable discharge on the Tengus could be used to try and splash down some other of these Soviet units, which I think that's exactly what Tengu is trying to do. And he does wind up getting the collector. And that Terror Drone got the infect on the collector. It looks like, God, there's the husk of the Yari Minisub, got the infect on the Yari Minisub as well. Did hand off a heroic status to the Yari Minisub. And this refinery just getting camped by the Terror Drone. That's not good. That's something you do not want to see if you're Tengu. You want to get that refinery back to work and capitalize on as much of the advantage as you can possibly get. Because right now, you're sitting on 3 mining ref, but you actually have, no, 4 mining ref, but you actually have 5. This ref could also be harassed again very quickly if there's another Terror Drone that decides to show up somewhere in this area. Yeah, so given the war factory is still intact here, so another terror drone could very easily actually go out here and start harassing that collector again. But now that war factory, though, it's a bit of a critical building at this point, because that war factory is Dimon's only way of rebuilding an MCV, only way of getting a build queue back. That is a very, very critical structure for him to have, and losing another collector. Oh, by losing both collectors, that's not, you do not want that to happen. Losing both collectors, maybe cash stalled, actually. I think he might be cash stalled. He has one collector that is basically dead out on the map. That is not good at all. And again, collector going down on the side of Tengu. Dimon trying to find whatever economic damage he can, but the problem is, you know, one mining ref, he's trying to rebuild the collector on the second ref. Dimon is just, he's not in a good, he is not in a pretty spot right now against Tengu. Tengu's in a very superior position, I think. Just all the eco damage that Tengu's managing to do. And now tsunami tanks are out on the map. All the tsunami tanks. Dimon's going to need to be really, really careful here. These hammer tanks could get overwhelmed. Doesn't want them to get overwhelmed. Needs to be very, very careful. One hammer tank going to go down. I can't agree with this. The Tengu's leading the charge. No. You want to have your tsunami tanks leading the charge, because the hammer tanks, while their gun is quite powerful, they can shoot on the move. They're fast enough to outrun the tsunami tanks if they're stuck behind the mecha Tengus. And Emperor's Rage, that's an interesting choice. It slows down your units quite significantly. So normally you wouldn't see Emperor's Rage go down unless your units were like right in the middle of the thick of the fight, or they were perhaps at least a little bit closer to the enemy than they were. But this war factory, is this going to go down? This is Dimon's only way to get a build queue back. Is he going to go down? He needs to protect this war factory, and he's not going to. It's down. The war factory has gone down, and I'm going to have to look into that frame rate that's going on right now. I'm going to have to really look into that. One heroic hammer tank, another one that's about to go heroic. Indeed, there it goes. The heroic pops. I have no idea what's causing this framing. Oh, my word. Another veteran hammer tank. He could get 3 heroic hammer tanks. And if that happens, if he gets 3 heroic hammer tanks, then this might be a comeback clutch for Dimon. Will he get the 3rd heroic hammer tank? And another thing, he needs to make sure he doesn't take an engagement against too many tsunamis all at once. For example, if the tsunamis mass back here near the mecha bay and wait for point defense drones, then that's going to be a fight Dimon cannot afford to take. Finally going to go up here and do something about this terror drone that's just been camping this refinery all game. Losing the southern refinery, though, the forces of Tengu forced to pull back and leave that thing high and dry. And Mig's coming out too. Mig's coming back out, rather. Gonna be covering the skies for these 3 hammer tanks. And Dimon, I think these are his last hopes. This is his last hope. It is in these hammer tanks. Does wind up sniping one tsunami tank while it's off by itself. Will he get another one? Ooh, that's gonna be close. Will he get another one? No, he won't. PDD comes down right on top of it. Oh, but they're outnumbered now. I think the hammer tanks are outnumbered. They are most definitely outnumbered. Alternating back and forth between which ones are on the nano deflectors. Both heroic tanks are down. There's a heroic tsunami tank. Oh, that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it. And the Tengus come back in, trying to fight the MiGs in the sky, which this time, I think that's might go. Yeah, that does indeed. That goes very differently this time. Goes in favor of Dimon. But really, what does it matter? What does it truly matter? He has an airfield, he has a barracks, and he has 2 refineries. At this point, his most viable option, he's going to try and go for some twin flak drops. Twin flak drops have some very serious power potential, just as we saw in game number 1. Twin flaks, if they get down on top of the enemy army and manage to use the mag mines against, or not even the enemy army, or if they get into the enemy base, manage to switch over to the mag mines, that can just delete enemy structures in a heartbeat. No question about it. But those Tengus, though, they could get some favorable engagements here, and so could that striker. If they fight over that striker, that will absolutely turn the tides of the air battle back into the favor of Tengu. Tengu did manage to reclaim both derricks, sitting on a 2 derrick lead, 2 derrick advantage over Dimon. what is he planning on doing with this twin flight? He's just kind of flying it around, not really committing to a location. Imperial Docks does come out, but really, how much value is that really going to have at this point? I'm not entirely sure. One MiG goes straight down, shot out of the sky by these Striker VXs. And really, those MiGs and Twin Blade, that's really all Dimon's got. He's not looking very pretty right now. The Soviet Air Force is very small indeed, and that's it. Dimon just gonna tap out. That's it. Tengu bested Dimon. GG, well played to both those players, and Dimon hang it in there. He did not want to give up at all. No. He wanted to fight as long as he could and just see if he could make something happen, maybe make the miracle comeback work. But I think as soon as those hammer tanks went down, that was kind of the end of the miracle comeback potential. Had there been a twin blade or two, maybe that would have tipped the scales a little bit more in Dimon's favor, and who knows, maybe that game could have ended quite a bit differently. But nice job to Tengu taking a game off Dimon, and wow. If Dimon had an eco lead in game 1, that's what I call an eco lead now in game 3. 74,000 ore to a full 30,000+ or more in favor of Tengu. That is absolutely staggering amounts of eco difference. But still, that it translated to all of those extra tanks, all the extra Tengus, all the extra Striker Chopper VXs that we saw on the map. It is Dimon, he just never really got the breathing room he needed to get his eco off the ground and up and running. Well, that would conclude game number 3, so let's jump to game number 4. Spawning on the map, Infinity Isle. On the right side is the yellow Soviets player. This is Dimon. And his opponent is the green Empire player. This is Tengu. On Infinity Isle, or Infinitely Played, as some people may refer to it as, a lot of dojos going to be coming out. Typically, you see anywhere from 2 to 4 dojos, depending on what the Empire player is really planning on going for. Typically, you open with one, you deploy it back here, get your infantry roll, and you deploy another one near your derrick, and so that you can get your fast and easy engineer, and your third is the zoning crush kind of core that tries to deny the early game scout and deny any information that your opponent could possibly be trying to get. Dimon doing the very wise thing for a lot of players, really. Allies and Soviet players in general both tend to destroy the structure just so there isn't any kind of garrison potential later. I don't see Empire players destroying it nearly as often. For instance, right now that structure is remaining untouched by Tengu. But usually you just destroy that just so you can make sure that there are no garrison attempts to destroy your derrick later in the game. And that was a very nice split-second micro there, getting that mag mine getting it off on that dojo core, forcing the deploy because it has no health left. It has no business left trying to be a crush core. Absolutely no business. And what was that? The roar did not work. I don't think that roar worked when it should have worked. I'm a little confused there. I don't think, yeah, that should have gone differently, I think. Imperial Warriors maybe going to start putting some fire on this derrick. Could very well do so. Terror Drone going to be camping the dojo. That is definitely not what you want to be seeing at all. Molotov trying to juggle in and out of the structure to avoid the Molotov cocktails, but I mean, you're screwed if you do, you're screwed if you don't. You got Molotov cocktails digging you out of the structure. You got a sickle waiting to kill you if you came out. Not very much that could be done there for those Imperial Warriors. A lot of Imperial Warriors just kind of dying, but you know, it's all good. These are just scouting units early game. Their main job is really just to get information. Tengu coming in, trying to see if he can find a good harassment spot. Well, with sickles on the ground here, even preemptively selling 2 of the wall segments just in case that Tengu decided to commit and come on down. Very, very good indeed by Dimon, making sure that absolutely no harassment can be done. Tengu going for that 3rd refinery only after Dimon's is fully built and fully established. So Dimon will be having a bit of an eco lead from this. No, that's not good. You transform right on top of the Terror Drone. That's not what you want to do. You don't want to transform right on top of the Terror Drone unless it's sitting in its electro claws, at which point you might be able to get lucky with the other person just not being fast enough or just not paying enough attention. But with Dimon, I highly doubt he would not be paying attention. Sickle's going to be moving out, trying to see what kind of damage they can get done here. Just sadly, just missing the deployment of the refinery core. That refinery size, that would have been a juicy, juicy kind of catch for Dimon had he been able to get it. I think gonna be forced back here, I want to say. If that the Tengu's on the Terror Drone, that wasn't supposed to happen. Tengu gets on top of the Terror Drone, and yep, with the Terror Drone going down, this Dimon's just kind of like, yep, okay, I lost my main pushing power there, so it's time for me to fall back and time to reevaluate the situation. Gonna be jumping on down, utilizing the flea jump ability of the sickle. Very versatile, gives the unit a lot of versatility, especially on verticality maps like this. However, T2 on that Mecha Bay plus a striker plus 2 chopper VXs equals some dead sickles. Those are some dead sickles. Bye-bye. And rip. I think they were just starting to make their jump too, but did not quite get there. Tsunami Tank going to be coming out trying to hold the front lines, but Twin Blade, that means we have an airfield, and airfield is out already, and Dimon moving his MCV. I don't think that model agrees with physics, but MCV going to be going back here to the water expansion to try and get that 4th refinery established. And Terror Drone goes down just before it would have been able to jump into the Striker VX. That would have been very bad had that Tengu or had that Terror Drone been able to jump into the Striker VX. And just missing the kill on that Twin Blade. Just a little fraction of health left over, but is going to be chased away by that remaining Striker VX. Bullfrog up on the cliffside though, that's going to stop any kind of aircraft, or this is going to try and deter any kind of aircraft from going up, and that's the chopper attacking a war bear. That's generally something you don't see every day. Chopper VXs are notoriously bad at hitting infantry, at least they are now. When Red Alert 3 first launched, they were okay, I guess. They didn't do very much. They didn't do too terribly much in the way of damage, but all of their shells did wind up homing in on their target. And that was a twin terror drop right on top of that collector. Did trade, believe, 1 unit for it, but not the Twin Blade. The Twin Blade still managed to get out of there scot-free, basically. Got the collector, is going to be trying to get in here and get this Striker VX. Is it going to make it to the Mecha Bay? It's going to be close. Is it going to make it? Oh, I think it died. I think the Terror Drone died from the repair drone just as the last bit of damage was done. And that would, oh wow, that was actually very, very close indeed. But the collector going to be going down. Oh, eco harass from Dimon, very, very nice indeed. And double Terror Drone here supporting this. You got to make these tsunami tanks basically, you know, null, void, you know, not even necessary. Those things are not going to be able to get anything done against those dual Terror Drones out there. Hammer tank on the front lines. We could see a lot more in the way of the hammer tanks coming out on the front. If we saw more hammer tanks, Dimon's going to need something on the ground to try and contest or at least slow down the tsunami tanks from Tengu. But I think he's trying. Dimon's, I think, he's divvying up most of his attention on trying. That's why he wasn't microing the tank that basically got taken for free, and he wasn't microing the Terror Drone that popped out of it from the Terror Drone surprise upgrade either. Most of his attention has been going into trying to micro these 2 Terror Drones, micro the MiGs, trying to see what all they can get. And this MCV, oh, the MCV's hungry, and there is a tsunami tank trapped right there. Boink. Down it goes. MCV is nothing. In Tiberium Wars, your MCV is a very fragile thing, and it needs to be protected at like all costs, right? It's very fragile. But in Red Alert 3, it's basically like a 5,000 hit point, like schoolyard bully of a tank. You know, like this thing is, when you're playing against the Soviets, you need to be careful, right? Just need to make sure. A nice harassment coming out back here on the water expansion, gonna be forcing this collector off the line for Dimon. But playing against the Soviets, you know, with their Terror Drones, you gotta be careful about using your MCV as kind of like a bumper car. But the Soviets, you know, their MCV it's a very powerful thing. If you utilize it in addition with those hammer tanks and the other Soviet ground forces, or combine it with the Air Force that Dimon seems to be favoring in this series. There's 1 MiG very heavily damaged. I would say that constitutes a Crusher Crane going up, and there it is. That Crusher Crane has been built. However, I think that last MiG is just out of range. I think the Crusher Crane could have been, it would have been better if it was moved just a little bit further up this way so that it could reach all 4 landing pads on the airfield and actually repair the units while they're on the ground, instead of needing them to come up into the air. Wall off on the front lines. Typical. I mean, for any faction, if you're trying to slow somebody down, if you're not ready for a push, then just start throwing up walls everywhere. I mean, the walls will slow them down. This isn't, I mean, of course, I've seen some games on this map in particular where it was something like 7 or 8 layers of walls just to slow down the other person. Like, I mean, I don't know if it was just like a fun time, you know, make you laugh kind of game or what, but it was certainly something. Tengu's going to be trying to get the flank off. You're going to need to be really careful here. Striker VX going back to the ground. I think it's just going to get focused. All the twin blades take it straight down. All the mecha Tengus, I think, are about to go down. Hammer tanks trap pushing in from that side. The few remaining are trapped between bullfrogs and MiGs. That's it. All of the Tengus are gone. All of the Tengus just got deleted from the skies. I think that, oh my, that might be too much. Losing that many, a dual airfield, oh my word, dual airfield coming back out for Dimon. Naval Yard already online, 5th refinery coming down as well. 5 ref, about to be 5 refs to 3. That's not favorable to Tengu at all. And tank busters, 2 tsunami tanks, a few Tengus versus, and 4 Tengus and 1 AA turret versus all of these, all of the twin blades, all of the MiGs. No, yeah, I think this is going to be it. Dimon just has too much. He has way, way too much in the skies. And all these, the MiGs, now they're just, there's not enough Tengus to take on the MiGs. Dimon doesn't even care. He's got he has way too many twin blades rather. He can just charge in, overwhelm absolutely everything, and that's it. GG. Tengu taps out, and Dimon will win the first semifinal for the Win 42 and advance directly to the final. Well played to him. Very well played indeed. Dimon seems to be really favoring these aircraft-centered plays in times of late. Very much so indeed. Looks like a very big eco lead. 15,000 right thereabout in favor of Dimon. That's the 5 ref kicking in. Get 5 refs online. It really just pays absolute dividends on that one. GG. Very nice. But losing losing all of his Tengus like that, it was a good idea trying to flank Dimon's forces up on the ridge, but I'm not sure he knew about the vastness of Dimon's air force. I don't think he knew about that. And then so he thought, oh, I could just go up here on the ridge line, I'll flank the bullfrogs and then take those out, and then I can come up here with a chopper VX or 2 and destroy the hammer tanks. But then that was kind of dwindled. That idea was kind of dwindled whenever, you know, 4 or 5 twin blades and 4 MiGs showed up out of the fog of war. It's just like, hello. So I think Tengu may have been taken a little bit off guard by that one. But in any event, Dimon, as always, doing a superb job of reading the situation and responding exactly as he needed to respond. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed. And that will conclude semifinal A of For the Win 42. And I'll see you in semifinal B. And this is Sniper, signing out.